Doing a wheel bearing today. Got this cheap part from Amazon. This job is pretty easy, but we do have to have a few special tools. A slide hammer, a bearing press, air tools help. Start with removing lug nut. Tire comes off. We can pile all of our hardware on the tire there. Okay, next you've got 2 bolts. One up top here, and then there's one at the bottom, like right behind, whoop, right there. Maybe you can see that. 17 millimeters, they pop off, and then the whole caliper is going to hang up on the spring. Hold on to your caliper, it'll fall. Hang it up out of the way. 10 millimeter bolt on the wheel speed sensor. Pull it off of the strut housing, and then tuck it up with your caliper. Somebody's been in here because I don't have a brake dust shield. Great. So I am going to mark this bolt. I don't know if they're using that as an alignment bolt or what. You know, good enough. I don't know what's going on with this bolt here. Wonder if it isn't the right size. Oh well, ignore that. That's what you get when you buy a Craigslist car. Then we got to get this tie rod off. So cotter pin comes out. You really shouldn't reuse those. I'm probably going to. 17 mil on this guy. See if we can break it loose. That's fine. Pickle fork. And you know, if you pickle fork them off, you're gonna break your boot. Just letting you know that right now. You could try putting the nut on the bottom and pounding them out, but I already did the other side, and these were so tight that there was no use. Also, I mean, this tie rod is kind of screwed anyways. Next, you've got 3 bolts. Well, 1 bolt and 2 nuts rather for this lower ball joint. That's easier than taking the ball joint off in my opinion, but you do what you want. I'm gonna break mine loose to breaker bar because I can't fit my impact under there. Now the strut bolts. Wow. So this one is a cam bolt, so it is important that it goes back in exactly the way we took it out. So those marks are going to be really, really critical. And you also can tell usually which one the cam bolt is because it'll be marked somehow on the knuckle with that little stud there. That means that this is where the cam bolt goes. 22 on the lower here. You saw it pop out. I'm going to stage these 2 bolts, leave them in while I pull the hub off. Start with the nut using a 1 1/4 on that guy. If you need to get the CV axle removed if it's tight, mine's not, but if it was, this would be the tool that you use, and it's got this beveled edge that sits in there. And what happens is, you can see I've already got mine set up for a slide hammer, so I'm going to go to this more shallow little foot. I would use the deeper one though, and you could throw that on like that. This threads through, and then this gets held on with a couple of lug nuts, and then you can see as you tighten, it'll push that CV axle that way while keeping everything else in place. And then you don't have to hammer on your CV axle. Can you throw the axle nut back on it and hammer on it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've done it, but you know, it's better if you don't have to do that. And then with the slide hammer, you thread it through. You can put the safety nut on it if you want. I recommend doing that. And then, same idea. Lug nuts go on. Finger tight is fine. They don't have to be super tight. And then all this does is it's a little weighted slide here, and you just hammer it out. Boom, hub. Now that we got that out of the way, we'll take these bolts out. Slide the CV axle out of the way, and now we can work. We got to press this bearing, this old bearing out. Okay, I'm supposed to have a little press-in dust seal here. I don't. So my snap ring is exposed, and it looks like it's the kind of snap ring that doesn't have the holes. It's just the hooks. So that's great. That's going to make my life difficult. Yeah. Just got to really freaking pry at it if you got these little hook kinds. The ones with the hole are easier. Okay, boom, screwdriver and a pick, gets an old snap ring out, and a little bit of patience. Perfect. I'm going to grab the receiver cup that's appropriately sized for this hub. And I want this receiver hub to go around the hub housing there, so when I push the bearing out, it's going to just suck up into this cup. And then I want one of these to cap it. Okay. And then on the other side, I want to pick one of these tools that's going to fit the bearing. Challenging thing about this is this bearing is two pieces. So you've got your outer bearing and your inner bearing. You can see if I spin what I'm talking about. So you're going to find the size that's going to fit that. That'll work. And then slide your bolt with your thrust washer through. Then on this side, throw your receiver cup. Move my light here. Okay. Thrust washer and the big nut. I don't know the technical terms for these things. If you do, you can comment below. You're probably smarter than I am. And then the manual says don't use air tools. And so I'm going to use air tools. And this bearing can only press out one way. There's a lip on this side. You can see it's got a beveled edge. And so you got to make sure you pay attention to what you're doing, because if you try to press it into that lip, you could end up just big wrench to hold the other end. Okay, till it's all the way out. And there you go. You check your race, make sure it's going to be okay for the next install. This one looks fine. And then disassemble your little press concoction here. Boom, bearing. Clean out the inside here. Grab you some grease, grease up the new one, and where'd the hub go? Gonna grease the hub as well. Now installing a bearing, you want to find the size that's just about perfect for what's gonna fit in that race. So that's a nice tight fit. And then you're gonna go hold down into the bearing just like that, because that's gonna kind of hold everything aligned while you get this set up. And then on the back end, you just need something bigger than the hole. So that's gonna be fine for me. So slide that through, bearing goes in, thrust washer, and the nut. Now in the install, it's best to do it by hand to get it started. But if you kind of know what you're watching for, you can just go straight to air tools. And then you just keep going until you get bottomed out. Then you reverse it. And that's it in a nutshell. Now I don't have snap ring pliers. Well, I do, I just can't find them. And so I came up with the baling wire method. Let me get this light going again. So this baling wire, I just put the snap ring in a vise, hold it together like this, and then it'll drop into place. Grab my cutters and snip. And then, you got to go fish for your baling wire back. Okay, I'll snip this one close to the hole and then fish my end pieces through. Boom. Snap ring installed without snap ring pliers. Bearing spins freely. Now to install the hub, similar process here. I want to make sure it's lined up to the hub. I'm going to pick one that fits over like that. That's fine. And then on the back side, same kind of idea. I just want something that is going to sit bigger than the hole. So that's fine. I'll load that guy up. And again, for me, I'm going straight back to the air tools. I don't really recommend doing that, but it's what I got. Okay, I went the wrong way. And then this bearing has that inner race right here. The outer race is held in with the snap ring. So I'm gonna find one of these covers that goes over the inner race. I think that potentially is gonna be perfect. Thrust washer and nut. Something like that. Throw the wrench on. So you bottom out. Disassemble the kit and caboodle. And there you go. I like to throw a little bit of grease on the splines here. Now it's just a reinstall. So we'll put our axle through. Lower ball joint nuts. And then we can press on the lower ball joint. Get the bolt in. These are going to be 100 foot-pounds eventually, but for now, just snug. And then put this guy back in. Bottom bolt. And top bolt. Corresponding nuts. These get 150 foot-pounds. And you want to torque from the nut side. Keep all of our stuff lined up there with the bolt. Okay, since we're here, might as well just torque that one down. I got 156, close enough. Okay, I kind of lost my alignment mark a little bit, so I'll reset that. Yeah, perfect. Switch over to the bottom. Torque. Perfect. Now I'm going to go down to 100. Torque these guys. Okay. Perfect. Kit comes with a new spindle nut. You should usually use a new spindle nut. I'm going to call that good for now. 36 foot-pounds on this little castle nut. Cotter pin goes in. Wheel speed sensor. Pop that guy back over the hub. Rotor. Caliper. These guys are 80 foot-pounds. And I should mention, you know, if you live in the Rust Belt, you're going to want to use anti-seize on some of this stuff. You might also want to use blue Loctite if you are concerned about things coming loose. I usually blue Loctite suspension bolts, but you know, this is a small rig and it doesn't really see a whole lot of like use other than driving on paved roads, so it's not that necessary. Got it? Got it. Now that my brakes are on, I can push the pedal, move the seat forward for maximum holdage. 160 foot-pounds on this guy. Flathead screwdriver into this indent here. Good enough. Tire goes on. I think the lug torque on this car is like 80. Okay, wheel bearings are done. Road test. That hit me in the face.